Sweden is part of Scandinavia, and with its neighboring countries Denmark, Norway and Finland, we are the UK's 14th largest export market actually. Sweden is a very large country. It has about the double amount of size of the UK, but it is very sparsely populated. So we've got 9.5 million inhabitants. The construction sector in Sweden has about a total turnover of 50 billion pounds annually, which is a great contribution to Sweden's GDP. And we've got 500,000 people employed in this sector, so it is definitely a very important sector to look at. And we see that in Sweden we mainly have got supply chain opportunities. Also in Sweden we have the Swedish kroner as currency, which might be interesting to you. However, contracts are often signed in euros. Sweden is part of the Nordic-Baltic network as well. So this means that we're closely cooperating with our colleagues in Denmark, Norway, Finland, Iceland as well, and in the 3 Baltic countries. So we have a handful of large Swedish construction companies that operate in the whole Nordic region. And those are Skanska, Peab, NCC, Veidekke, and then we also got Strabag. Skanska you might be familiar with because they have got a subsidiary here in the UK. They built the Gherkin, for example, and other projects. In Sweden they are mainly focusing on industrial buildings and commercial buildings, but also housing projects too. And they also got offices in the other Nordic countries. And mainly Skanska is now building the European Spallation Source, the ESS, which is a huge neutron research facility, which I'm going to talk about just later. Then we have NCC, which is also focusing on commercial and industrial buildings. Strabag, originally from Austria, now focusing on infrastructure projects, and Peab, which is also focusing on industrial buildings and housing. So the Swedish labor market, we have the ISO 14000 group, which I'm sure that you will be familiar with. So that's how to manage the environment. And then also important to know is the Swedish procurement law, LU for short, from 1997, which is based on an EU directive for public procurement really. And it's the Swedish competition authority looking after that. Then of course we also got TED, so any procurements that are above 5 million euros are going to be tendered through that website, and also construction products that have a worth over 207,000 euros have to be tendered, or the tender has to be put out through that platform. Also important to know if you're doing business with Sweden are the Swedish trade unions. They've got a very long history and they've got a strong presence in Sweden, because very few details are put down in Swedish law, and then the trade union would have collective agreements which include pay, working environment, working conditions as well. And about 82 up to 100% of all people working on a construction site are signed up for that trade union called Byggnads, which is taking care of the construction sector in Sweden. So now moving on to the real opportunities. We have got, as I mentioned before, the European Spallation Source, short ESS, which is a research facility for material science, basically. And it's a cooperation of 17 EU countries. The UK is also contributing quite a great sum to that project. And it's the Swedish construction company Skanska, together with the British subsidiary Skanska UK, who won that almost €2 billion contract. So now we're looking into the supply chain, and we are going to have a supply chain or a suppliers day in March. So companies that are interested in getting more information about what type of products that we're looking for are happy to contact me afterwards, and then I'm happy to give you more details on that. But basically this research center is going to be complete in 2025, and Skanska has won stage 1, which is already being built, and now we're looking for suppliers for stage 2, which includes things like doors, windows, ceilings, green roofing, etc., etc. So please get in touch if you would like to know more. And then furthermore, we also have the hospital renovation project together with NCC going on, which is basically a 3-hospital project that has a total worth of £1 billion. And there we're looking also into the supply chain, and we would encourage UK companies that have unique products for the hospital renovation market to come forward to us. Here are my contact details, and please get in touch if you would like to receive more information about the Swedish market. Thank you, and now I'm handing over to Neil Brown, who is an International Trade Advisor for Yorkshire and Humber.
Thank you, Sabine. Very much appreciated. So yes, my name's Neil Brown. As Sabine said, I work in the Yorkshire and Humber region for UKTI. For those of you that don't know, UKTI is the part of government that supports British business to win export orders in overseas markets. We have offices in 110 or 111 countries, Sabine, I think now, throughout the world, and it's through working in partnership with my colleagues such as Sabine all over the world to identify opportunities for UK companies that we then support UK business to win contracts, be it in construction or in a whole range of other sectors, IT, food and drink, you name it, we support it. So we work on a regional basis. As I said, I'm from the Yorkshire and Humber region. There are 9 other offices in the UK, and people such as myself work with companies in those separate regions to help them identify opportunities. So Sabine said she's organising events early next year for the 2 projects that she's outlined, but these things are happening on a daily basis. So at the moment I've been doing some work in relation to a project that's going out to the UAE to look at the World Expo and events linked to construction in the UAE, because you're probably aware World Expo is scheduled for 2020. You'll also be aware that Qatar is due to host the World Cup in 2022. Linked to that, there are major construction opportunities and major construction projects, and of course UK companies are interested in opportunities in connection with that. And UKTI provides local expertise and knowledge and connections to help UK business win opportunities in those markets. But literally on a daily basis, we're doing things all over the world. Companies going out to Egypt, Kazakhstan. I've got a colleague here from Kazakhstan today, together with colleagues from Australia, Finland, and 1 or 2 other places as well. So if you did want to meet with colleagues, there's a chance to have a conversation about your product, your service, and the opportunities for that in various markets globally. UKTI also organises a couple of what we call our flagship events throughout the year. Export Week takes place in November and also in May of each year. And this year we've got colleagues from around 60 countries coming to the UK, and it's a chance to meet with them, to talk with them about your product or your service and discuss the opportunities for your company in those markets. So a good chance to sit down and have a real in-depth discussion about your objectives and the things that you are doing in those markets. And we can give you expert advice and insight in relation to those markets. But we also work in other ways, supporting companies, and that includes helping you get your web presence improved, We have specialist digital trade advisors that work with companies that are doing e-export or e-commerce. A major initiative, major piece of work ongoing at the moment where we're looking at various platforms globally and how UK companies market their products through those global platforms. And that might include things like Marca VIP that covers the Middle East, Mercado Libre, for example, in Latin America, Newegg and Amazon in the US, for example. And we've negotiated special trade deals with those organisations for you and your companies and to list your products at a preferential rate. So there's lots of things that UKTI can to do to support you, provide you with expertise and connections and knowledge that otherwise you may not be able to access. So as I say, we work on a regional basis. Colleagues are happy to come out and meet with you at your business, or again, we'd be happy to host you at our premises in your local region. Sabina and I will be very happy to speak with you after this presentation if you have any queries, and we'll try and do our very best to answer those, but also be happy to put you in touch with contacts overseas if there's a particular market that you are particularly interested in.